name is Maya. If you looked at my resume, you'd see a woman who builds skyscrapers for a living. I deal in concrete, steel, and absolute certainties. The architect of dreams. I don't miss details. I don't make mistakes. At least that's what I told myself before Liam. I need you to understand something before I start. I wasn't desperate. I wasn't naive. I was just ready. I was successful, independent, and incredibly lonely in a penthouse that felt too big for one person. When I met him at that charity gala, he didn't look like a predator. He didn't look like a con artist. He looked like the missing piece of a blueprint I had been trying to finish for 10 years. For the first time, I didn't check the foundation. I just walked right in. The first 3 months were like inhaling pure oxygen. It makes you dizzy. It makes you high. Liam was intense. He didn't just want to date. He wanted to merge souls. He sent white lilies to my office every Monday, not red roses, because he remembered I said roses were cliche. He remembered everything. He was a consultant for high net worth investors. He wore Italian suits, drove a vintage Porsche, and spoke about a future where we would buy a vineyard in Tuscany. He made me feel safe. That's the most dangerous part of the trap, you know? It's not the charm, it's the safety. He created a world where it was just the two of us against the noise. I let down walls that had taken me a decade to build, brick by brick. I gave him the keys to my heart, never realizing he was already making copies of the keys to everything else. We started dating in January. By mid-July 2024, 6 months into the relationship, I wasn't being swindled and I was making an investment. That's how I justified the first $50,000, not as a victim, but as a partner. That's where the subtle shift happens. He was stressed. He told me about a temporary liquidity issue with an offshore account. He didn't ask me for money. That's the genius of it. He made me offer. He was protecting me from his stress. So I insisted. I transferred $50,000 on July 25th. And it was a loan, strictly business, for a bridge investment that would double in a month. He cried when I sent it. He held me and told me no one had ever believed in him like I did. I felt powerful. I felt like a partner. I didn't see a transaction here, and I saw us building that vineyard in Tuscany. I didn't know I was paying for the shovel he would use to bury me. The money didn't come back in a month. There were complications. Bureaucracy, he said. The banks are freezing assets. Then came the second request, $100,000. This time to save a deal that was going to secure our retirement. But something had changed. The white lilies stopped coming. He was always on his phone, angling the screen away from me. He started traveling for business constantly. When I asked questions, he turned it around on me. He'd say, "Maya, don't you trust me after everything we planned?" He made me feel guilty for asking about my own money. I started walking on eggshells in my own home, terrified that my suspicion would ruin the perfect love we had. I was gaslighting myself for him. But suspicion is a crack that always widens. And I knew if I wanted to stop the anxiety from consuming me, I'd have to look where he told me never to look. It happened on a Tuesday, about a week after he got the second wire. He was in the shower. His phone was usually glued to his hand, but he'd left it on the nightstand charging. It buzzed once, twice. I wasn't gonna look, I swear. But the screen lit up with a preview message from a number saved as the architect.
It said, "Did the wire from the dumb bitch clear yet?" My blood turned to ice. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the phone. The architect. That's what he called me when he was being romantic. But the message, it wasn't romantic. I unlocked his phone. His passcode was my birthday. A calculated move to the very end. I opened his emails. And there it was. Not a vineyard in Tuscany, but gambling debts, crypto wallets, and another woman in London he was telling the exact same story to. I closed the phone, put it back on the nightstand, and didn't move. He was still in the shower, had maybe 3 minutes to decide. Do I scream and send him running, or do I act like nothing happened and watch the monster get dressed?
Before I start this episode, I want to say a big thank you to my followers and supporters. Thank you for all the likes and support recently.
If you're enjoying the content, make sure you follow and like this video so we can keep this going. All right, let's get into it.
I didn't scream. I went numb. I scrolled back through months of messages, all while the shower was running. While he was holding me at night, he was texting his friends about how easy I was to manipulate. He mocked my job, my insecurities, my dreams. He had a spreadsheet, Maya, a literal spreadsheet on his drive, tracking his projects. I was row 4, column B, estimated yield $250,000. He walked out of the bathroom, drying his hair, smiling that same smile that made me fall in love. He asked, "Ready for dinner, babe?" I looked at him and I didn't see Liam. I saw a ghost. I saw a mirror reflecting my own stupidity. Every "I love you" was just a receipt. I sat there pretending to be babe and let him dry his hair. But while he was smiling, I was taking photos. Because before I filed the police report, I was going to secure the evidence that would hopefully stop him from ever smiling that way at another woman again.